There is a story just came out of Mexico that is really, really jarring and should put all Americans on high alert for what it means for our own culture, because it's coming here as well. A university student in Mexico is the school's valedictorian. Okay, and he's got now his degree and license to practice psychology. And now all of that is threatened. His degree, his license to practice, his career is threatened because the valedictorian had the audacity to challenge transgender theory and to defend the family. So this guy, in his speech, in his valedictory speech, makes a really important, basic, but really important point. He says, I'll translate into English. Today we are deep into a real anthropological struggle to redefine the human being, the human person, man, through the implementation of ideologies and fashions of thought that always end up undermining dignity and freedom. He then quoted G.K. Chesterton. He said, "People do not know what they are doing because they do not know what they are undoing." And then he said, "To attack life and the family is to self-destruct. It is an attack on civilization itself." Absolutely true. He's right. And now he could lose everything. ADF, the Alliance Defending Freedom, which I strongly support, is now defending this young man. This is coming here too. And what this really represents is effectively an outlawing of Christianity in public life. And coincidentally, an outlawing of Judaism in public life, and coincidentally, an outlawing of Islam in public life, and coincidentally, an outlawing of any vaguely traditional religious, moral, ethical view on marriage. That's what it is. It's an establishment of leftism as the state religion. You're seeing it in Mexico, you're seeing it elsewhere in Latin America, you're seeing it all throughout Western Europe, and you're seeing it happen in the United States. This is what the marriage bill is about. I mentioned it a little briefly at the end of the show yesterday. There's a bill right now that's being supported by Democrats and squish Republicans in the Senate, and even some Senate candidates are volunteering this, like Dr. Oz, the biggest loser running this year. He's saying, I'm going to defend this bill that will not only accept the Supreme Court's decision to radically redefine marriage in Obergefell, but it's going to enshrine that in federal law. And by the way, even if you support Obergefell, even if you support redefining marriage to include same-sex unions, the bill goes much further than that. What the bill does is effectively outlaw institutions that have any relation to the government at all from believing that marriage is what marriage actually is, and not the insane new definition of it. What the marriage bill will do is say that if you're a 501c3, if you're a church, if you're a civic organization, and you in any way support marriage as marriage actually is, you're going to lose your tax exemption. You're going to be punished by the state. You're going to be sued by the government. They already did this in Pennsylvania. They did this because a Catholic charity helps facilitate the adoption of children. And because it's a Catholic charity, it doesn't adopt children out to just anybody. It says that children have a right to a mother and a father. And so the babies go to married parents, husband and wife. Some gay activists sued and said, no, we want the children and we want to force the Catholic Adoption Agency to give children to us. Goes up to the high courts, and finally the courts say, no, sorry, Pennsylvania, sorry, political activists in the Pennsylvania government, you don't have the right to ban Catholicism from your state. This law would do it. This law would do it. And it's not even just this one bill. You're seeing, it's not even just this one country. You're seeing it in Mexico too. If you even suggest that maybe we shouldn't redefine the human person and the family. Oh yeah, you remember how you were the smartest person in our class? Remember you were the valedictorian, you're gonna have a great career ahead of you? We're gonna take it all away. We're gonna take it all away because you have the audacity to be a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim or just a reasonable person, or you have the audacity to hold the views on marriage and the human person that Barack Obama held in 2011. That's the stakes that we're talking about. And you've got squish, useless, coward, morally idiotic Republicans. Some of them, it's a small minority, but it's some of them who are defending it. It's pathetic. The question we're asking ourselves is not, well, who has the right? Who has the right to get married or adopt or this, or the right to speak, or your right to not be offended, or this right or that right or this right? Really the question is, what is the animating force of our country? What is the soul of our country? That's what we're really asking. Countries have a physical aspect and metaphysical aspect. Just like a human person, we got our body and we got our soul. Well, the country's the same way. So what is America? What we are told today by the libs is that America is a liberal democracy. We need to defend liberal democracy. And what's really ironic about this is that the phrase liberal democracy appears pretty much nowhere in the English language until 1930, and then it doesn't spike at all until really the 1950s, and then it really doesn't take off until 1982. But before, if you Google, say, Christian nation, that appears all over the place. Christian civilization, Christian country, that's all over the literature. You can see it everywhere. Liberal democracy doesn't exist, doesn't really take off until about 40 years ago. So if liberal democracy is what America really is at her core, at her essence, no one knew it until roughly 4 decades ago. The way that America conceived herself in the beginning, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, you don't see that phrase liberal democracy. You don't see the phrase democracy all that much. Democracy does not appear in the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. It does appear in the Federalist Papers a handful of times, always with disapproval. The Founding Fathers were very, very skeptical of democracy. And the word liberal doesn't really appear. It doesn't appear in the Constitution, doesn't appear in the Declaration of Independence. It appears in the Federalist, again, a handful of times, but only in the sense of generous. You know, he's a very liberal person. It's not referring to any political philosophy or ideology. By contrast, the word nation appears in all 3 of the documents. It appears in the Federalist Papers, I think 569 times, always with approval. And then, so at the physical aspect, you say, okay, America's a nation. And then what animates the nation? What's the soul of the nation? It's not liberalism. If you go back to the founding documents, the founding papers, it's Christianity. That's what John Adams says. John Adams says that the thing that united the founding fathers, the thing that united the men who built the country, was the principles of Christianity. That's it. Sometimes the libs like to quote this line that they pretend is from John Adams. They say, America is in no way founded on the Christian religion. That line comes from the Treaty of Tripoli. That was signed by John Adams, but it was not written by John Adams. It was written by the Jeffersonian Republican Joel Barno, I think his name was. And it was just a diplomatic document to placate the Muslim pirates who were abducting and enslaving American sailors. It was like a ransom letter, basically. It wasn't a statement of philosophy or even really law. And John Adams, when he was speaking freely and not trying to ransom back the sailors, directly contradicted the Treaty of Tripoli. And we all know this. We know that America was a Christian nation going back to its earliest days. 1620, the Mayflower. Why did the Pilgrims set sail on the Mayflower? To establish Christianity in the New World. Why did Governor Winthrop establish the Massachusetts Bay Colony? You don't need to scratch your head. We know he told us, because he gave us a speech in which he said that America will be a shining city on a hill and a model of Christian charity. We see this in the writings of the Founding Fathers. We see this later on in American history. We see this in the Francis Scott Key's poem. You know, the Star-Spangled Banner is based on this poem called the Battle of Fort McHenry. And the final stanza of it, no one ever remembers this stanza, but the final big conclusion of the poem is, "Oh, thus be it ever when free men shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." In God is our trust. So that poem became the national anthem. It was authorized for military use in the late 19th century. It's acknowledged for official use by the White House in 1916, I believe, and then established as the national anthem in 1931 with the approval of the president as well, so with the Congress and the president. This is our national anthem. This is our national motto, in God is our trust. Eisenhower added a version of that to the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, and we know that in God we trust is on all of the U.S. currency. Okay, that's the animating principle. All a long way of saying, what is America? It's a Christian nation. The body of America, it's not just an empire. It's not a city-state. The physical aspect of America is a nation. Okay, that's what the founders established. And then the spiritual aspect, the metaphysical aspect, the thing that animates the nation, just like the soul animates the body. A body without a soul is dead. A nation without an animating principle is dead. The animating principle is not liberalism. It's not secularism. It's not atheism. Traditionally, it's Christianity. That's what it is. It's just, I'm not even saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I obviously think it is a good thing. I'm just stating an historical fact that is irrefutable, okay? And now there's a major campaign underway to upend all of that. What the libs want to do is destroy America as a nation and open up its borders. A nation that doesn't have borders cannot be a nation at all. They want to turn America into basically just a tax farm for a global empire and make us all citizens of the world without any distinction between our people and other people. But again, a nation that does not make any distinction between its own citizens and foreign nationals is not a nation. There's nothing that distinguishes it as a nation. And then at the metaphysical level, what the Democrats want to do is disestablish Christianity as the animating principle of the country and establish atheism or secularism or leftism or whatever. The consequences of that are terrible. The reason that the libs are complaining about Christian nationalism right now, I just gave a long talk on this at the National Conservative Conference, which you can find on YouTube. The reason that the Democrats are losing their minds over Christian nationalism is not because it's a departure from the American political tradition. They're losing their minds over it because Christian nationalism is the American political tradition. The libs hate the American political tradition, and they're trying to upend the whole thing. Right now, go to ring.com/Knowles. We are in speech season, baby. I travel a whole lot. But I'm always traveling a lot. You might be too. You got your summer vacations, then you're going back to work, and then you want to make sure that your home is protected. That's why you need Ring. Did you know that Ring has a wonderful alarm system? I know, you're thinking Ring, the video doorbell company? Yeah, they have an alarm. They have an award-winning home security system with available professional monitoring when you subscribe. Best of all, you can easily install it yourself, and Ring does not stop there. They've changed the entire home security game with Ring Alarm Pro. That is why I have teamed up with Ring. And when it comes to protecting our home, you gotta go pro, baby. You gotta be a pro like me, okay? Ring Alarm Pro is whole home security with available professional monitoring when you subscribe to Ring Protect Pro. Ring Alarm Pro combines a security system with a fast Eero Wi-Fi 6 router, so you're protecting your physical home and your digital home as well, all with one device. It's absolutely phenomenal. Protect your home. Be like me. Go pro with Ring Alarm Pro. So you can do it too, okay? Learn more at ring.com/Knowles. That is ring.com/Knowles. I'm so glad you liked that clip. Now, I need you to ring that bell. Please subscribe, get the notifications. We'll see you next time.